Welcome to the latest edition of Corporate Highlights, where we connect with business owners driving growth in Singapore's market. My name is Nigel from Alpha Invest, and today we are joined by Mr. Marcus Chu, Chief Executive Officer of APAC Realty, a market leader in the real estate brokerage and service space. Through its ERA brand, APAC Realty connects thousands of real estate agents with home buyers, developers, and investors, playing a pivotal role in Singapore and the region's dynamic real estate landscape. Let's hear what Marcus has to share about the company and its long-term vision.
APAC Realty, the SGX main board listed company, we host the international ERA brands across Asia Pacific regions. ERA Singapore has been the market leader for the last 43 years, and we have more than 850 clients so far over the last 43 years since we start recording our numbers. Today, ERA Singapore is one of the largest ERA member broker in the world by transaction volume and the market leaders in Singapore with over 8,850 advisors. So our three core business include real estate brokerage business, real estate franchise business, and also training, valuations, auction, capital market investment sales, and other property related business. So for real estate brokerage services, we are in the primary and secondary home market, which includes the private condos and HDB resale, and also in the commercial and industrial space. So we are a real estate agencies that provide support to real estate agents. In ERA, we call our agents trusted advisor, and we invest heavily in training tools such as our technology and our proprietary super apps to help our advisor work more professionally and efficiently, so as to provide superior clients experience. Of course, it's new home sales, because new home sales provide the biggest margin in our brokerage business. So, second half 2024, there was a suite of projects that was launched. In fact, 6 of these projects was launched in November 2024, and that represents as much as almost half of last year new launches. And all these project launches revenue is actually reported this year, and typically 3 to 4 months revenue recognitions lags for new home sales. So this transaction only record in early 2025 instead of 2024, even though the sales is done in 2024. So in addition, revenue from other ongoing projects in 2025 further contributes to our uplift. So market sentiments and buyer interest currently is very, very strong. And in the first half 2025, we see several new launches that is very well take-up rates as high as more than 90% take-up rate over the weekend project bookings. So given the robust upcoming projects for second half of this year, we expect everything will be very positive for the year 2025. Oh yes, we expect the sales momentum to be strong and continue to be strong moving forward to 2026 and even 2027. You know why? Because there's a lot of government land sales that is introduced by URA into the market, and developers, like I said, their projects, good take-up rates will means that they are hungry for land, and they will be buying more lands in 2026, moving on to 2027. So actually 2026 government land sales list will only be released by the end of this year, 2025. And we foresee that the number of launches in 2026 will be as high as 2025. So there is about more than 10,000 units, all right, in 2025 and in 2026. So usually the number of project launch is equivalent to the number of units sold. 2025, this year, the actual number of launches is more than 12,000. And to me, that's a boom year. Anything that is more than 10,000 launch and 10,000 sold will be a boom year, okay? And this is like the 4 years high, okay? Because over the last 2 years, back in 2023 and 2022, the number of launches shrink, okay? Reason being there was a delay in the approval from the Controller of Housing for new launches. So as such, the number of unit launch is actually half of what we've seen today, and similarly, the transaction is also half. So to give you the perspective about the market, it is actually driven by new home sales. So if you ask me what are we watching closely is the government land sales, the number of bids for every land site. That shows how hungry the developer is to purchase land and to build new condos. And at the same time, we are also watching on the take-up rates. So if the take-up rates continue to be strong, and that means we are still in a booming private property market. If I have a time machine to go back 3 decades ago, I would tell you that I will pay a lot of attention on building a website 30 years ago, okay, which I did. 30 years ago, I tried to build my own website, all right? It took me weeks to do this with a specialist, and at the same time, I paid a specialist more than $2,000. Today, I can use Sales Plus to build a personal websites for our agents within seconds at no cost. That's the difference. That's the power of technology. If you ask me now, fast forward to 30 years later, what will we be harnessing in terms of technology? I think artificial intelligence will be a thing that is 30 years later. It's like a basic needs. So right now, we already feeling that AI is helping in a very big way for the way we do our business. Firstly, ERA Singapore is the first real estate agencies that believe in artificial intelligence, and we integrate it into our Sales Plus proprietary app. It was done back in February 2023 that we have integrated ChatGPT OpenAI into Sales Plus, where it's able to help our agents generate content in a guided manner, all right? Be it generating projects templates, translation of scripts from English to Chinese, because you serve the Chinese clients, you cannot be showing English scripts. And at the same time, we also use AI in advanced creation of content, which means ask AI anything. The AI is able to provide any answers for any kind of questions. Of course, if you go direct to OpenAI's ChatGPT, you will not get the same result and user experience as per what you get in ERA Sales Plus, because we harness prompt engineering into our ecosystem. So with prompt engineering, it is customized within the Singapore property industry context, that whatever answers that is presented is very localized. So this technology helps our agents to be able to present even Singapore properties reports, all right, specially tailored to seller, buyer, landlord, or tenant, according to who our agents is serving. So with all these advanced tools, our agents will be able to serve the clients more professionally with the help of AI. We track the adoptions of our applications, particularly on the AI applications. And you know what? Most of our trusted advisors use the advanced creation applications, which means they are using the applications that helps them to generate contents for their social media, for their training, and even for any kind of contents that they would like to present in the social world. So I think the results actually comes from sales conversions. So many of the surveys that we send out to ask our agents which of the applications actually helps them to perform well, the answers is using our Sales Plus artificial intelligence application. Well, Singapore business is the main core business for APAC Realty. And of course, it will continue to be for some time. But in my perspective is that having ERA Asia Pacific is one way for us to ensure future-proof and also sustainability. Okay, why do I say that? What if one day there is disruption in the Singapore market? Then there is other market that we can fall back on. Okay, so we invested our attention in expanding our presence beyond Singapore. So one such market is Vietnam. Okay, because the population in Vietnam is growing, the profile of the population is young, and at the same time, the government in Vietnam is also following what Singapore government is doing. In terms of housing, the governments in Vietnam is also trying to build public housings like Singapore. And in terms of the regulation of agents, over there in Vietnam, they are also trying to follow what we have done in Singapore, which is the Council of Estate Agent, in regulating the housing agents over in Vietnam. So over the past few years, when we started Vietnam, we have the intention to build a brokerage service business, not the franchise business model, but the real estate brokerage business model. So there are no franchisees in Vietnam, only brokers and agents. So we have only 2 offices in Vietnam, which is Ho Chi Minh City, and 1 office in Da Nang. So in Vietnam, we have more than 5,000 agents. And among the more than 5,000 agents, we have more than 3,000 registered agents, one of the biggest in Ho Chi Minh City. And I got to tell you this, Vietnam market is quite the same like Singapore, very much driven by project marketing. So over the past few years, there is also lack of project launches due to the regulation change in their authorities. So this year in 2025, there was a surge in project launches like Singapore. So what we are witnessing in Vietnam is the turnaround of their business, and it contributes to our top line numbers by more than 5 million Singapore dollars. So moving forward, we will continue to see more uplift in the Vietnam market, especially in the new project sales. Okay, so moving on to another countries that we have expanded our presence into the business is Indonesia. All right, Indonesia has been 3 decades in the ERA Asia Pacific business model. So recently, what we have done is we have started to convert the franchisee business into brokerage business. So how do we do that? We approach all our top brokers in Indonesia, who are our franchisees, to become our partner. So we bought over our top brokers, of course, being the majority shareholder of their companies, retain them as the operator of the brokerage business. By doing this, we are able to transform from the franchisee business into that brokerage business. So this allows us to tap into the real estate business deep and not on the surface. So over a longer period of time, we will see the result as we continue to expand within Indonesia, Jakarta, and beyond. Yeah, so early on, I talked about project marketing is the driver of the Singapore property market. At the same time, project marketing is also the main revenue and also profit margin for real estate agencies. So the biggest risk is there's no project launches in Singapore. So that means it will certainly affect the top line and bottom line of real estate brokerage business. But do you think so? That there will be no more government land sales and no more development and no more new launches in Singapore? I don't think so. So what drives the demand for all the new launches? So in Singapore, as long as there is increasing population, I think there is a need for home, especially new home. So we know every year, based on the statistics that we are seeing, every year there is more than 20,000 new citizens and more than 30,000 Singapore PR, in short SPR. So overall, SPR plus new citizen is more than 50,000. So other than that, there is also increase in population from the foreigners. All in all, per year is about 100,000. And we witnessed this over the past few years when population increased from 5.7 million to more than 6 million during the 3 years where we experienced COVID-19. So moving forward, will the foreigner buy property in Singapore with the increased ABSD to 60%? Well, the answer is no. Most of them will choose to rent rather than buy because it's very costly to pay that 60%. Of course, there are minorities who will do so. But there are a big incentive if the foreigners convert to become a new Singapore PR. You know, the ABSD will actually shrink from 60% to 5%. So it means that there is an incentive program for conversion from foreigner to SPR. And when they become SPR, there is a choice that they can make. Instead of continue renting, they can choose to buy with only 5% additional buyer stamp duties. And that's why we are seeing increasing number of SPR buying into new projects. Yeah, another big risk in our housing market is whatever that is presented in master plan will not come true. So will that be true? Obviously not. Whatever that is seen in the master plan over the past at least 3 decades, when I started as a real estate agent until today as a CEO of APAC Realty, I can tell you whatever that is presented in Singapore master plan, it will come true. Take, for example, the decentralization of the CBD outside the core region. That was first introduced in the early 1990s, almost 4 decades ago. So fast forward till now, it is really decentralized. Okay, CBD is truly decentralized. And in fact, we are talking about Woodland Northern region now. Okay, because whatever that is completed in the east and in the west now is going up north. So this decentralization of CBDs have actually brought people closer to their home from their workplace. So no longer you need to travel very, very far from the north, from the extreme east and extreme west to the central region. You can just work near to your home in the east, west, and the north. Okay, so because of this, over the last 3 to 4 decades, property price in Singapore has actually multiple fold increase in all these regions. There is not core central region, but outside core central region. The wealth creation is one of the reasons why people are buying properties. And not just buying properties. In fact, Singapore is like the place where foreign investments is also coming to this part of the world in a very uncertain market globally right now. Okay, because Singapore has been viewed as the safe haven for wealth creation and wealth retention. Okay, so that sums up the risk here is when there's risk outside, maybe it's so safe in the small red dot in Singapore.
As we have heard, APAC Realty continues to leverage on its resources, technology, and trusted network in serving home buyers and investors, while staying resilient in an ever-changing real estate landscape. We hope it has been an insightful session for you, and stay tuned as we bring you more insightful conversations with business leaders driving growth in Singapore's market.